Hi, lovely YouTube. So I'm here for your full moon forecast. I haven't been live on it on YouTube for a while, so bear with me. Do say hello. I've got the chat box open, and I'm still in my fitness gear after my yoga session. Um, so this full moon, and of course, happy solstice if you celebrate that. This is, halfway point in the year. Can you believe that? Of, seeing what is coming to fruition. This is really a time to celebrate the last 6 months and really do some reflection on like where we're at, where we're going, like what we might want to tweak and change, particularly with this Capricorn full moon. Um, so yeah, it's summer is here. I'm so excited. So I'm looking at my screen over here as well. So the full moon in Capricorn is happening on the 22nd of June at 1 degree and 6 seconds. So do obviously check your time zone, but that is at 2:07 a.m. GMT time in the sign of Capricorn, which is an earth sign. We are in the cardinal earth sign. Um, Cardinal signs are about initiating, they start things, they're the ones that start new projects. I'm guilty of starting things and not finishing them, to be honest. I'm getting better. But that is my old style. So you might recognize that if you have cardinal energy, if you have lots of Capricorn in your chart. But of course, with the full moon, we're on this axis of Capricorn and Cancer. And Capricorn is very much about the public life that we live, our vocation, our career that we're building, creating. And this is a really ambitious sign, right? If you know a Capricorn in your life, you'll probably know they're always trudging up that mountain. And this is why I called the title something like, what do I call it? Are you too focused on the mountaintop? Because of course, every sign has a shadow side, and the shadow side of Capricorn is that, hold my hands up high as well, because I am a Capricorn, that we can get too focused on the top of the mountain that we forget to be in the moment. We forget to enjoy the journey. It's like, oh, on to the next goal, on to the next thing. So it's really a lesson in being present and enjoying the journey, because we all know it's not about the destination, right? It's about the things we learn along the way. And of course, here, the opposite sign of Cancer can really help us to receive that emotional nurturance that we might need, to be really soft and gentle with ourselves. And I'm going to keep this forecast a little bit shorter today because I've got slightly swollen throat. I don't think it's turning into anything, but I'm just mindful of using my voice too much. Um, so yeah, looking at the energy, there's a lot of cardinal energies initiating. Um, so really it's this balance between, are you too focused on the mountaintop? Are you getting too obsessed with your ambitions? And of course, it's good to be ambitious, but are you like abandoning your family home life? Sometimes I can be an all or nothing person, and I can very much go all or nothing. So it's the balance between the masculine and feminine. I've been having a lot of conversations about that recently, of like, where is the balance? And of course, we might not be balanced all the time. But if you notice you're getting too much into action taking and you're starting to get really tired and burnt out, how can you bring in that feminine side, that Cancer that tends to the home, that, creates a really cozy nest, um, and really enjoy that time at home, even if I've been really enjoying time in the garden. And for me, I'm a little bit of a restless person, so I'm like, oh, I've got to go out now. But actually, just sitting in the garden, listening to the birds, has been really, really nourishing for me. So it's things like that. So as well, I'm feeling into Neptune is in a square to the moon. So Neptune rules Pisces. It is it is a nice energy, as in it helps us to surrender and see that everything is connected. right? And actually, the word that came through is interconnected. Everything is interconnected. And I'm going to give you this symbol because the spider has been coming into my life a lot recently. And I just looked at the clock and it's 4:44 then as well on the recording. So the spider is about being interconnected. And it sounds like I'm going off on a tangent, but I'm not. Talk about this interconnected piece. So, a spider is a symbol of the feminine. It weaves its web, right? It intentionally is waiting for a fly or whatever insect to land in the web. And then it does its work. So I really feel this is a message for us to be intentional with our energy. Instead of scattering ourselves and doing the whole, wanting to start loads of projects, which this energy might want to do, is how can we do less, right? Less is more. And as soon as I say that, my nervous system relaxes. Those things, for the ambitious people amongst us, probably many of you are, you write a to-do list and you're suddenly overwhelmed, right? So whenever I get into that space, I breathe and I remember, okay, what's the rush? What is the rush? Because rushing often comes from anxiety. It does for me anyway. And it's like a panic that, there's not enough time. But there's always enough time for things that are priority, right? So remember that. Prioritize the things, and then the other things can wait till tomorrow. As long as you're taking the actions, you're making momentum. And often we're so hard on ourselves. And at this energy, we might be more critical of ourselves or have high expectations. I am a classic sage, don't put myself in a box, but I've got loads of Capricorn energy and I'm so hard on myself. My inner dialogue needs to just do one sometimes because I get really hard on myself and I need to snap out of it. And that's when we can go into this lovely Cancer energy of like, okay, what does my inner child need? Right? Tending to your inner child. And it can be that simple that you just need to take a break and sit in the sun for 10 minutes. Yeah. What do we need to feel safe? Safe in the body. Because if we're in the scattered anxiety mode, then nothing will get done. Everything, you'll be channeling all your energy, that anxiety, into the things you're creating in your business or in your art, whatever you're doing. So being really mindful of that. And it takes practice, right? I'm still learning. And this thing related to the Neptune square, the full moon. So Neptune could cause us to be in deceiving ourselves or deceiving others, right? And I had some edgy moments this week with a friend. When somebody challenges you and it's good, you hear their reflections, and it hit me in the stomach of this idea of, okay, I've seen myself where I've been a martyr in my life. This is very much this Neptunian energy, and you may relate, of where when we overgive, we're almost trying to make ourselves feel better, which we're looking outside of ourselves for that validation. And actually, of course, being kind is a good thing. That is one of my traits. But when we give too much to the detriment of our well-being, that's when it's not good. So be mindful of this energy that you're not giving to please others to make yourself feel better, right? And I've been there and I still get into this. So when you do notice, okay, well, how can I make myself feel better, right? Because everything you need is within you. And it's almost like this Mother Teresa energy. Not there's anything wrong with her, but she comes to mind of being a saint and doing good in the world. And of course, being of service is a good thing. But when does it become too much? When do we stop? When do we abandon our own needs and desires? And I've done that many times in my life, so I can talk from experience. I'm much better at saying no to things or setting a boundary with somebody. So we might feel in a space of fog. So it's almost as if, as another image of this Neptune energy, is like things might not seem that clear at this full moon. Full moons bring things to the surface. So it's okay to feel, it's normal to feel maybe more emotional, a bit more triggered because the stuff that's been lurking underneath is literally coming to the surface. So give yourself grace. But it's almost like with this energy, there is, as if you're paddling in murky water, you can't see your feet. It's like that. So don't take any brash actions at this full moon because it will take time maybe for this, for the clear energy to like arrive, so that you can actually see your feet. And full moon is a time celebration as well. Like I used to do this and I stopped, but it's actually just noticing what are all the good things that you've done this week, right? Taking time to celebrate. I would love to hear, share with me in the comments, because when we see and recognize ourselves, that is incredibly empowering. That gives us that trust and confidence within, right? So I'm celebrating that I carried on with a painting that I'm working on that I could have procrastinated on, but I actually went to it when I didn't feel like it. So that's a big thing. I'm celebrating that. That's my win this week. So do share them. They could be big, small, like it's all important. And also at this full moon, Venus is conjunct the full moon. So that's really lovely energy. As much as we've got Neptune quite prominent at this new moon, it's fogging the way quite a bit. The Venus is again going, okay, well, what do you need? Like, how can you step into that feminine side of you a bit more? Because Capricorn is yang, it's a masculine energy, it's the doing, it's the, you know, as I said, taking those steps up the mountain. But Venus is like, okay, remember me, I'm over here. Remember to smell those roses, right? Remember to be in the moment with somebody. And of course, we have our to-do lists, but stop putting so much pressure on yourself that your self-worth comes from your to-do list. It absolutely doesn't. And I used to get sucked into this. Resting is productive, right? Resting is productive because I need to hear that again. It really is. I can't see any comments if anyone's left any, but I think it's all good. And also the Capricorn of the yang, it can be a harsh, like I said about that inner critic. Often Capricorn is ruled by Saturn and it gets a bad rep because it's the wise old soul, which is good, but it's also the authority figure, that criticizes, that looks for, oh, but you could have done better. It's almost never satisfied, which is dangerous. It's a dangerous energy to get into, that side of it. Forgotten what I was going to say. Oh yeah, so Saturn helps us to create boundaries. So although this authority can feel harsh at times, it's actually going, okay, you're saying you want to do this, but are you showing up for that? Are you showing up for your business? Are you being visible like this? I could have just said, I don't feel like it. And I had that moment earlier and I was like, no, I'm going to show up. I'm going to do my forecast because I'm here to share and, to give this information. It's important. So just watching when you're also maybe going into that Cancer energy of like, oh, I really don't feel like it. There is a balance between knowing you really need rest. Like my throat this morning was like, okay, I need a bit more time to just be. And I sat in the sun, but I was like, okay, I'm good to go now. So the balance, it's always a tricky one. But yeah, Venus is going, we need to smell the roses and we need to have fun. What are you doing for you that is fun this week? And if you haven't done something fun for yourself, go do it this weekend. Be playful, be curious. This is the Venusian energy. And I do believe that the more playful we are, the more magnetic we are, the more things flow in life and business. And I know I've been getting too serious and into that Capricorn energy that's too stagnant, that needs a rigid plan. Whereas the Cancer is like, okay, it's a cardinal sign, but it's water. I'm going to be a bit more fluid and I'm going to feel into what is next to do, right? Instead of having this rigid plan. So if you've been a bit rigid with your kind of schedule or your like your creative practice, whatever you're doing, is just give space for a bit of flow. And of course, we need that container to actually be creative. Like I've started writing every day for 30 minutes, and that feels really good that I'm doing that. So create those containers that can support you. Um, yeah, I think that's mostly all. And we've got Mercury, which is conjunct Venus. And so it's almost like we're dropping into this need for soft, gentle, tender communication with ourselves and with others. So if there's something you need to communicate and be vulnerable with somebody, is really dropping into that feminine space and feeling, okay, this really hurt me, or like I feel like, it's being compassionate to the other. So that will really help if we do need to have those difficult conversations this week. It's kind of softening our speech and the way our mind is. So you might feel like our thoughts are a bit kinder as well. Yeah, I think that's all. Do drop your thoughts, what resonates in the comments below. I always love hearing from you guys. And see if you want more, if you want personal guidance, I'm available for astrology readings. There is a link below. And yeah, happy full moon, my loves. Bye for now.